Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jess from BehatiLife. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a while, it's been a minute, but that's because there's been a lot going on. But today we're going to be talking about why is it that if you share your sun sign with a million other people, why is it that you're so different from everyone? So if there's 12 sun signs, if there's 12 signs, if there's 12 zodiac signs, why do we have variations in personality and what makes us so unique? What makes me different? I'm going to explain that to you hopefully in 15 minutes or less. Yeah. So we're going to dive right in. So really quickly before I get started, I really want to encourage you to subscribe. And I also want to say thank you to those who are tuning in, and also thank you to those who tuned in to our live Instagram feed on Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, you should be. You can find me at BehatiLife. I'll probably link it below. And you're going to find a lot of interesting content, astrology information, a lot of tarot stuff, and it's all free and it's all available for you. A whole lot of positivity and empowerment just pumped into your Instagram feed constantly. Not constantly, occasionally, and it's gonna be so dope, especially if you love this type of stuff. Okay, so let's just go ahead and dive in. So basically, the moment that you were born, the very moment that you were born, the universe took a snapshot, a screenshot, a picture of the galaxy, our galaxy, and each planet. Well, that screenshot, that photo is your astrology chart, and your astrology chart looks like this, or your natal chart. So each planet within our galaxy represents a certain energy, and when you put those planets into different houses, they have a vibration, and when you put those when all of those planets fall within houses, and the houses represent certain sections within our lives for all of us across the board, that vibration kind of applies itself into that area of your life. But all of those things, all of those pieces together help to map out who you are and your entire personality and what makes you so unique. So even though you share your sun sign with a million gajillion other people walking the face of this earth who are just as equally holding the Sagittarius sun sign or Gemini sun sign or Virgo sun sign or whatever your sun sign is, even though you guys all share the same sun sign, there's the way that your planets fall helps to shape up your entire personality. And that's what makes you unique. Okay, so to break it down into little bits and pieces in a way that hopefully you can understand, because sometimes I do have a tendency to get all astro crazy and kind of lose myself in the details. So if you have any questions, definitely send them below in the comments. But let's just kind of dive into these examples. Now I have 3 different charts that I pulled up, and I'll do my best to explain and to make sure that it's all clear, right? So the first chart that I have is my natal chart. So I'm going to show you this very personal, very intimate look into who I am, and I don't need anybody to judge me and look into my details too much. I'm just kidding. I don't mind sharing my natal chart, but some people do because it can be very intimate. So basically what you look for when you're looking at it is you look for your sun sign, of course, because that represents your personality. And you can see that in this chart, the sun sign falls within the sign of Virgo. So instantly we'll look at it and be like, okay, this person is a perfectionist, she's a neat freak, she's a detail oriented, a hypochondriac, etc., etc. So insert any Virgo stereotype that you have here. But that person may not necessarily identify completely 100% as her sun sign, because that sun sign only represents the ego and that personality. And that's something that sometimes it takes a little while to discover, right? But the other half of their personality is the ascendant sign, the other important piece of them. Now, the ascendant sign is the sign that was on the horizon the moment that you were born. And this represents how other people perceive you, and it's your first kind of natural instinctive nature, your spontaneous reaction to things. So this is how you kind of put yourself out there for the world, how other people portray you, and how you kind of package yourself to the world. And in this case, you have Cancer. So there you have sun sign, the sun sign sitting within Virgo. So you have that piece, and then you also have the ascendant sign, which falls within the sign of Cancer. So already that kind of cancels out a good portion of the rest of the world who shared your sun sign, right? So that ascendant sign personality, the Cancer sign, factors itself into 50% of this portion of your personality. The other thing that we look into is we look to see the condition of the sun, not the sun. Well, we look at the condition of the sun, but we also want to look to see the ruler of whatever the sun sign is falling in. Why? Because that ruler rules, well, the planet that rules the sign that the sun is falling in rules the sign that the sun is fallen in, if that makes any sense. So that has a huge importance on your personality and what makes you different and unique from everybody else. So in this case, we see that the sun falls within the sign of Virgo. So then we go to the client, or when we're looking at our natal chart, we can say, okay, I'm very Virgo, or my sun sign falls within the sign of Virgo, so this is an aspect of my personality. But then you want to see, okay, the sun falls within the sign of Virgo. What rules Virgo? Mercury. So then we look to see that the Mercury falls within the sign of Libra, and that in itself helps to map out a piece of how we feel, a part of our personality, and it shows how we express ourselves and how we come across and who we are as a whole, and it makes you different from everybody else. I hope that makes sense, and I hope you're following along. So just for another example, so let's look at a different chart. Right? So in this case, this person their sun sign falls within the sign of Sagittarius. Why? Because we look to see the sun, and we see that little circle with a dot, that represents their sun sign, and that represents a piece of their personality, Sagittarius, their ego. So that person, we're like, okay, they're free-flowing, they're spontaneous, they're exciting, they're positive, they're optimistic, they're like big personalities, fun people, etc., etc. Insert Sagittarius stereotype there, right? But they also have a lot more to them than just their sun sign, and that makes them different than everybody else walking the face of this earth. And the second thing that we look at is the ascendant sign. This is, in this case, their ascendant sign falls within the sign of Capricorn, showing that originally when they approach people may look at them and say, wow, this person's really put together. They're very mature. They're very responsible. They're very driven and motivated. Insert Capricorn stereotype here, right? So that's how they perceive themselves. That's not how they perceive themselves, but that's how they project themselves out into the world, and that helps to shape up who they are truly, right? So then we look to see, okay, so we know that the sun falls within a sign of Sagittarius. So what rules Sagittarius? Jupiter. And we want to look to find Jupiter. Jupiter falls within Taurus. So the tendencies and traits of Taurus will bleed into their personality, because that ruler falls within the sign of Taurus, and that the sun sign is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter falls here, and that again builds the picture, the greater picture of who they are. I hope this makes sense. Now, to break it down even further, you want to look at the condition of, well, you want to look at the placement of the rest of the planets, right? Because you want to see Mercury, how they communicate, how they express themselves. If there's any planets that fall in conjunct with the sun, if the sun is being trined other things. So in this case, it's a beautiful trine between Mars and the sun, so that Mars represents fire, passion. Mars falling within the sign of Aries creates this drive, this motivation, this person who is driven, focused, determined, passionate, aggressive when it comes to their goals in a good way, motivated, probably interested and active in sports or any type of physical activity, competition. Why? Because those are Mars tendencies, kind of free-flowing themselves into their into the energy of the sun, helping to map out their personality. Again, what makes you different from everybody else. So it's not just your sun sign and it's not just your ascendant. It's all of those pieces that fall together that help to make you who you are. In a nutshell. Okay? And each of those planets represents separate things. So you have the moon that represents the emotional side, and then you have Venus, which represents the things that you're attracted to, and Mars is how you go about going towards things, and Pluto represents what kind of is your Achilles tendon and what kind of how you transform and how you maybe even things that you're obsessed with. Saturn represents the kind of restriction, and all of those planets, they aspect each other in positive ways and negative ways, but to the core and to the meat of this and the subject of the video today that we're doing is all of those pieces all put together. It's not just one thing, it's all of these pieces put together make you so unique. So even though you may share your sun sign with 1,000,000 other people walking the face of this earth, you are not like others because of this photo right here, this screenshot of your natal chart, the moment that you were born. You're so different. You're so unique, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and sign off. If you have any questions, please throw them in the comments below. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you're following me on Instagram and Facebook. Just go ahead and search BehatiLife. There's going to be a whole lot more content, like free content and astrology and tarot stuff that I'm constantly putting out there. The free information and also resources to help you if you want to book a natal chart report, or if you want to work with me one-on-one with learning your chart and learning astrology. All of those things are available for you on my website, BehatiLife.com. But in the meantime, thank you guys so much for tuning in. It feels so good to be here, and I love you from the bottom of my heart. Love and light. Bye.